Welcome in. It's another episode from the Critics Collective, and I want to say I am so sorry. Why am I sorry? I'll let you know hopefully by the end of this video. Now, before I do that, hit the subscribe button, like, comment for more, and anything in the descriptions, have you click those links, and we get a nice little kickback for that, and we appreciate your support as always. Now, today we're talking about on Netflix. This came out in 2022. Untold. It's their documentary series that talks about sports in a different kind of light. And for this one, it's the Untold, the girlfriend who didn't exist, the Manti story. This came out in 2022. So for this one, I'm gonna go ahead and give you my highs and lows, and then we're gonna rate it. Now, briefly, what the story is about for this one is, I like to think this is really one of the more recent, before Taylor Swift, one of the more recent stories where an individual on the football field had a relationship that crossed over to non-football fans, and it was kind of like you wanted to see these people to, I want to say, shine, to exist, to flourish, where it was almost like a true rom-com or a love story and stuff like that. And I think that was really something that just took this and put it to a whole nother level. So basically, at this point, I mean, everybody's kind of heard the story. So you have a football player who does an amazing job and gets noticed by Notre Dame. And Notre Dame says, "Hey, come play for us." And he's playing, he's doing what he's got to do. But throughout his career in college, he ends up falling in love with a woman, and they become boyfriend and girlfriend. And they talk all night, every night. And he's getting ready to play a big crucial game, and he finds out that at the same time that his grandmother passes, his girlfriend passes, and it catches him off guard, just like it would anybody. And he's really feeling bad in the locker room, and he dedicates not only the game but the season to his grandmother who passed and his girlfriend who passed. Now, in this game, I could be wrong on the stats. In this game, he balls out. He balls out. I can't remember who he played. I don't know if it was Michigan State. I don't remember who he played, but he balled out. I think he had like 2 interceptions, 12 tackles. He was balling. Okay, he was already a player that was going to go to the NFL. Everybody was watching, but he was balling. So, anyways, fast forward, he does an interview after the game and he mentions them, and it just takes off. I mean, Good Morning America, Today, news stations, sports or no sports, the Critics Collective, whatever it is, everybody was talking about it. So now we get to the point of the draft and some other stuff that's happening, and basically the news breaks that he doesn't have a girlfriend. The girlfriend doesn't exist, and this documentary goes into what that was. Now, we don't really do first impressions anymore unless you're OG and remember that. But my first impression was let me see why he did what he did. Let me see why he didn't just tell the truth. Was it peer pressure? Was it XYZ? And what I mean by that, by like peer pressure, if you've ever gone to a high school graduation, right? And they stand up at that graduation and they say to themselves, I know I have to answer this question, what college I'm going to, what my next step is, which you don't have to go to college. There's a lot of us who don't go to college and we do well for ourselves. But point blank, every school does it for some reason. They feel the need to tell all the parents that the kids are going to say where they're going to go, and they take the mic and they go down the line. And if you know some of these kids, you know damn well what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. But you'll hear them say, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. And it starts to sound like an NFL game where it's like the Dad Panther, Kennesaw State, Florida State, University, Roll Damn Tide. And you like, that's a lie. All that was a lie. So sometimes peer pressure makes you say some things and do some things. So I go to watch this. Now, my cons for this was that I was conned. Okay. Another con was, how do we do documentaries in the US or just in general? Because we got Con Mom, which is one of the ones that we did. It was, I think, dealing with like the UK or London. It was about a mom who wasn't who she said she was. Check that review out. It's on Netflix as well. How do we do stuff like this and there's no consequence in the event you find who did whatever? Like we did a documentary about a missing person on a cruise ship, right? That person's still missing. We've done a documentary review on the Catfish, the story about the 13-year-old kids, and you're trying to find out who the fuck is sending all these wild messages. Check that out right there. But how, Sway? The pros to this was I thought it was shot in a good way. I learned a lot about this man, a lot about this player, a lot about his accomplishments before getting to Notre Dame and his accomplishments after. This guy played over 6 years in the NFL. A lot of people don't even get to make it to the NFL, regardless their personal stuff. Okay. Then right now, currently, and I've seen him before, currently he's on, I can't remember what show, but he does, he's a talking head talking sports. So he gets to talk about professional and collegiate sports, something that he's passionate about, and he's still out there doing it. So big ups to him. And I thought that it could have been a little shorter. I'll say that as a con, but other than that, I thought the flow of everything was good. Now, I will say this before we go ahead and rate this. At the end of the rating, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to, I'm starting to do this where it's not a Marvel end credit. It's just basically me being a little more candid because you might not know the story. And because I didn't know the story, there was something I didn't know that. I had no clue. And I think it's important that I do not mess that up just in case you enjoy sports. You want to hear something that's like, that's interesting. But we're going to go ahead and rate this. Now, here we like to rate stuff from a 0 to a 5. 5 being excellent and 0 being not so good. 5 being an all-pro middle linebacker and 0 being someone who grabs the bench and just can't make a fantasy team to for their lives, but it's not me. It's not the Dad Panther. If you're looking for somebody who is knowing what they do when they do what they do, when I'm in the war room for fantasy football, I've won 5 fantasy football championships. Are those real? To me, they are. I've held the trophies. Okay. And one league that I'm currently in, I've won in that motherfucker 3 times. 3 times. All right. So I could basically say at this point, I was going to do the Booker T thing. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and rate this a 3. It was nothing really amazing about it. The thing that was really awesome about it, or not awesome, the thing that really got me was I didn't know the full story. So to see the full story with a twist and then get that, I was like, wow, that's crazy. It also pissed me off because it's another one where you see an individual and you're like, why isn't this individual catching hands? But what I want to say, like I started at the top of the show, hit the subscribe button, like, follow, and notification bells on. What I wanted to say was, my bad, dude. I had no clue. What happened in that situation. Did I make any jokes and stuff? No, that's not my thing because I'm big on, if I don't know someone's situation, I'm not going to speak on it. But I just didn't know, and I could only imagine what him and his family went through and maybe continue to go through in this situation. All right. So with that being said, you could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be here. Until next time, click allow. Now you should be gone. That's more than enough time to click another one of the videos or a playlist of the videos we have here to offer, over 600 and going. Now, if you happen to stay by, I'm just gonna speak on it for just a little bit, like we call it, it's not necessarily a 2-minute drill as we're moving to the goal line, but close enough. Okay, so there's this person, I may be saying the name wrong, Naya is a man, and Naya basically friends him, right? Friends him, and then proceeds as they transition for transgender. He's making the transition to her. She is a her. He is a her, right? If I'm saying it right, respectfully. And he basically just happened to friend him years ago and then picks up a conversation after a recent post and they just start talking and they're fall in love and you hang up. No, you hang up. And it's legit for him because this is a catfish. It's 100% a catfish. And so what happens is, I think, and I can't speak for her, but what I perceived was she's realizing this can't physically be anything more than it is. And he's getting ready to go to the NFL. He's getting ready to go where he can get on a plane and travel. Because before, she's supposed to be in California, which he wanted to go to California. They do mention that. It's pretty crazy dynamic, how parents influence and other stuff. And he is near Ohio and Michigan. He's up there and he can't, he's got to focus on school and stuff like that. And so to watch everything that happened because of this person just doing it just because, and then the person doesn't even, there's no remorse in what they're talking about. To my knowledge, I don't think there's any fucking criminal charges over fucking catfishing people. I know we talk about the MTV show and stuff like that, and I would watch it and it would kind of be like a guilty pleasure, but damn, there's nothing against catfishing a motherfucker. I know, like, even if you don't have anything financial or you're not physically hurting anybody, I mean, the time and energy and like that, reality show or not, that's wild. That's wild. So to see that, and then what he went through as a person, what if he would have harmed himself because of the pressure and the conversations that we're having? Because it felt like, especially the US was talking about it. I don't know about the whole world, but it became memes. People still talk about it because they don't know the full information and they don't care to know. Once they've gotten what they got, that's it. They move on and that's what they know. So when they see him working now in the jobs he have, I'm pretty sure people make those comments or those ideas. And so that's why I was like, hey, sorry, my bad, because I didn't know. Even though I wasn't out there saying, doing all this other shit, but in my head, I'm like, man, I'm sorry, because I didn't know what the situation was. And I believe his family knew, and he told him, hey, listen, this is what's going on, because she was like, I'm alive, I'm dead, I'm up, I'm dead again, because she couldn't keep her lies straight. Now, I will say, it sounds weird, bravo, because she, her, respectfully, did all the voices for the whole fucking family. Every time someone called to say, hey, girlfriend's sick and she's passing, da da da, that was him. And I've heard the audio. I ain't gonna lie. I know they're worried about AI fooling people, and this is before AI. Can you imagine AI and this guy, oh, sorry, this woman teaming up? What? Man, it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild because his voice actually sounds like a woman. Her voice sounds like a woman. 100%. Her voice sounds like a woman. When I first, because on the documentary, when you first see her, you're like, her, okay. It's not until you hear like them telling you the story, you're like, wait a minute, didn't know, didn't know. Now I'm learning. And the thing about it, you had the paparazzi, you had people who were like angry at him because he went to Notre Dame, predominantly Catholic, if I'm correct. They're super like, hey, we love God and we play football and we're super smart and we work hard and we don't like the University of Miami. Why? I don't know. Hate is gonna hate. But this man had his life in danger and his family in danger. And it was crazy how this other person, she felt very carefree. And if I'm saying her name wrong, my apologies. But that was it. I just wanted to talk on that part. And yeah, so if you stuck around for this, I appreciate that. You didn't have to. I'm the Dad Panther, Critics Collective. So next time, yeah, I'm gonna say it.